Hey everybody, this is Dawn from Glory Grace Farm. It's been a while, but I thought I would try out my new camera and show y'all what I've got going on. A little late, but better late than never, I guess, whenever it comes to putting plants in the ground. But this is a tomato plant that I got at Tractor Supply, and it has took off. It's already got a little baby growing on it, so lots of blossoms. I've got it growing in the greenhouse. I'm doing an experiment this year to see how one does to leave it in the greenhouse growing. Excuse the mess in the background. I've been organizing, trying to get ready to move chicks out here in a little while. And they get a bit bigger. These are my peppers. It's odd that such a tiny seed takes the longest to germinate. You can tell I've got to water. I just came outside to check on everything. And this is my corn. It's doing fantastic. I wanted to go ahead and do again like I did last year and get everything started because I knew it would be a bit before I could get it in the ground and give everything a head start. And then back here's some squash. This is all beets. We're going to try to set out either in the swimming pool growers, or we've got a tower that we're going to try to get set up. Use my power cord to my light. And then this is all different squash and zucchini, doing fantastic. Another thing of corn. All of the corn is primarily the candy corn that we absolutely loved last year. It was so sweet and delicious. And then this is another tray of beets for Mom. This is some watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydews, to see how they do. They seem to be coming on strong. The cantaloupes are the only things that kind of were a little bit lackluster on germination. So we've got, looks like 4 successful plants, but they're still not real great. And then this are all my little tomato babies. And I have mortgage lifters, money makers, homestead, San Marzano, yellow pears, and sweeties. And then these need to be watered. They're getting a little droopy. I have the gherkins, Mexican sour gherkins, the Muncher cucumbers, National Pickling cucumbers, another from American Seed. I've got American Seed and M.I. Gardner Muncher cucumbers because I was going to compare the germination, and both did really good. And then Crimson Spineless okra. And then this is my new thing I've been wanting for a really long time. A pancake air compressor that we can move around and work on different projects. Back here, we're trying to see if we can get a pineapple to grow in the greenhouse where it's kind of more of a humid tropical environment. These are the gadgets that came with the air compressor, stapler, and finishing nailer, or finishing nailer and brad nailer. Then down here is another greenhouse experiment. It is another crooked neck squash for Mom. She loves the crooked neck squash. So we're doing it, and it's got tons. Let's see if I can get my camera in there. Hello, kitty. Get back. Thank you. You can see all the blossoms in there, all the blossoms over there. This is a new camera. I'm getting used to where I got to look at. And then we have this tomato that's from Tractor Supply. It's a black cherry, hybrid cherry tomato. I've not ever had that before, so I picked that one up. It's got blossoms on it. I've got cucumbers. I have got to get set out. They're putting out runners, trying to find a place to go. My watermelons are blossoming like crazy and haven't got them put in the ground yet. And then one little pepper plant. And then last year y'all saw my weed eater, the Southland walk behind trimmer, which is fantastic. And then this year for the garden, we got an electric Tack Life 13.5 amp 18-inch tiller. It's front tine, which is a workout. I can only do so much at a time with my hands and everything, but it's getting deeper in the ground, and I think it's really going to help the garden be more successful. And then another thing we got to have for emergencies, as well as projects on the property, if we want to go around and use my pole saw that's electric and things like that on the edges of the property where I can't get a cord to, we decided to go ahead and get a generator. And we'll go out here. I'll go check on everybody. Hi, kitty cat. I don't know how many of y'all have seen the videos of the garden from last year and me showing the pear tree, but this is that pear tree. It's as tall as I am, at its tallest point. It's got several shoots that I still need to try to repot or transplant into the yard. I'd like to repot them in case by some chance we do get to relocate. We'll have a little bit of home with us. And this is what the tiller's doing on the ground. It's really, really working well. Thankfully I don't have a ton of, in the shade, I don't have a ton of rocks. I've ran into one big rock, but the issue I think is going to be roots. I've got these big roots like this. I don't know if they're from the tree or if it's some other kind of plant that kind of travels under the ground, but the tiller doesn't like those. Hi everybody! And then my favorite new purchase is the poultry netting fence. This thing has been wonderful. It's going to be so helpful to let the flock go out and about and do things. Hi everybody! Oh yeah, you going to show out, Mr. Chanticleer? Leave the fence alone. But this was that huge pile of mulch or wood chips that was dropped off by the local power company last year, and I've just not had any way of moving a whole bunch of it at one time. Physically unable and stuff, so we just get what we need when we need it. The chickens love it, and they have pretty much flattened it. They've been having a big time digging for worms and everything, so they have done a fantastic job getting it cleared out for me while they've been here, because I had the fence around the garden area and around the tree so they could get in the shade, and now I have it stretched out over into the yard and still under the tree. You can hear the ducks in the background. Let's go see them. Their spots hopefully going to be changing over time, getting made bigger. We are trying to hatch out some more ducks right now to try to get some more females, hopefully, because we've only got the 2 girls. Hi everybody! Yeah, and you can see her little nest she's made. That's where she's, one of them. The other one kind of lays wherever she feels like it, but one of them lays right there, so I'm kind of watching to see if she'll go broody again. She was broody a while back, and we had a problem with a raccoon coming and stealing her eggs and irritating her, and so we put the motion sensor light that I'd seen on another channel on YouTube that I watch, and they seem to work really well. And this looked similar to the same brand. I'm not sure if they're identical. These are Zuki from Amazon. They work great. I can be on the other side of the driveway and it will come on, and they don't stay on long, they don't waste power, but it's enough to startle something, so they're working good for that. We're going to try to get their new shelter made. They actually like that a lot. That's where the mom goes whenever she wants to get away from the males and everything. She just goes under there and says, "Get away from me, give me my space." But so that will hopefully be turned into a regular little house. We're just trying to figure out what kind of design we want. We had a doghouse in here before, and they refused to use the doghouse, even though it was the big dog loo. they just didn't want to have anything to do with it. So we just made that little hoop out of the plexiglass, and that's what they enjoyed using. So, of course, with ducks, they would rather be out in the rain than anything. I've got some pruning to do around all the bottoms of my trees to get caught up on work. We've got the top put together, you can see over in the background, on a new chicken coop that we're going to put together and try to separate the flocks out for favorites, should I say. Chanticleer doesn't want to share any of the current ladies with the other rooster that we thought was a hen last year that suddenly changed and is definitely a male, and he needs his own ladies and everything to keep him happy. So we are hatching out a flock of what should be Chanticleers, and hopefully those will be his new flock. And if we can keep everybody housed together for a while in that big new coop and everything, keep them together, once they get big enough and they bond with him, once we let them all out together, they'll know whose is whose and be okay. We'll just have to see as we go. But this is a 164-foot poultry netting, premier poultry netting. When I first had it selected, I had the double-pronged step-in kind of poles, and I think it sold out, and Amazon switched me with something similar, as they say, and I didn't realize it, and so it's the single-prong poles, which are a little bit more difficult to get in if the ground's dry and everything, but it'll be okay. We'll deal with it, and then next time around I'll make sure and get the double-pronged. I've got to still get some extra support poles. What I've got right now are just for the other, running a different type of electric fencing. They help hold it up, but they're not exactly tall enough to be the height that the fence is supposed to be. It's a 48-inch fence, so we'll just work with that as we go. I've been letting them go in and clear out all the lower weeds on the ground and stuff under the tree so we can go back in and cut down all the privet that's trying to grow and everything. I found a huge clutch of eggs under there where for a couple of days they decided that they wanted to lay in the bushes and hide them, and you'd think somebody was going broody or something, but it wasn't. They were just laying in there. I guess they didn't want to go back to the coop. And we picked all those up, and they've been back in the coop, and I didn't even realize it. So it was, I think it just, days I thought they just weren't laying as many. Well, they were laying them under the tree, and I couldn't see them for the brush, and then I came out and they had cleared more, and I was like, oh wow, look at all the eggs in there. So there was probably a dozen and a half or more in there, so those are going to be tilled into the garden as fertilizer. And I bought this new bigger waterer. It was like $35. I didn't really want to spend the money on it, but it's much more convenient than the little waterers that you have to fill up constantly. This is a 5-gallon waterer. It's working pretty good. I like it. It has a lid for it, but I just keep the lid off. That way I can walk over here and fill it up when it needs to be filled up, because they still go about 5 gallons a day for 20 chickens. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting chickens. They do drink a lot of water. It's surprising for such small creatures. But you can see they're just getting in there, and they just love tilling and scratching, and then they dust bathe and everything in that what's now become pretty much mulch instead of just the pine bark and everything, because there's all kinds of fun worms and bugs and things in there. And Chanticleer has turned out to be a fantastic rooster. It's very protective, very watchful. I watch them respond to him, and he'll make a slightest little sound and they'll just come running back under the tree for shelter, because we do have hawks. This has been my biggest fear of having chickens, is stepping out and having them in an open area to be at risk for the hawks that we know live here, and we hear them every day. They live, I think, nesting right across the street from our driveway. And now we have owls as well. Of course, they put themselves up at night, but I love watching him, and he just call to them, and they'll just come running. So they're doing really well, but everything's in full swing, trying to get caught up now because different health issues and insomnia just kind of work against you, and you just have to keep doing what you're doing and do what you can as you can and press through. And I appreciate everybody that's hung with the channel and watch and see what we got going on and everything, and we're just still pressing toward the hope of having the actual farm one day and getting the cow and having the pigs and, you know, all of that real sustainable farm living, farm life idea and hope and dream that we have in our hearts. You know, a lot of people don't keep roosters with their chickens. They don't want to have the worry of babies and fertilized eggs and whatever whenever they're selling their eggs, because people think that's weird or whatever, that they might be having a fertilized egg, but that's just nature, in my opinion, the way God intended it. And if I want to be self-sustaining, I've got to have breeding pairs of animals. Otherwise, I'm not self-sustaining, because chickens can't make babies. Hens can't make babies all by themselves. And plus, the roosters provide protection. When I get my cows, I hope to have a male and a female. That way, I'm always able to sustain rebreeding and carrying on a line of cows, whether it's for milk or for meat to put in the freezer. And same with pigs. I want to have a breeding pair of pigs as well. And then, you know, we hope to have the bees and have that honey, so that one day, if, you know, you can't get sugar in the store, well, we've got honey from our land, you know, to sweeten our foods and things with. Just getting back to the basics. I mean, we've learned with everything that's went on in the last few months how important it is to be able to provide for yourselves, because you don't know when there might be a day that you can't just run to the store and get it. And, you know, last year people would have said, that's not going to happen. Well, this year we found out, yeah, that can happen. And it can be hard to get to the store and scary to have to go to the store in some places, and especially currently right now, these things going on that's just like the world's lost its mind. At least people in the United States certainly seem to have, and we've got to pray for America, pray for the people that are good and kind and just trying to live their lives in their hometowns, that are being run over by what I believe, you know, is just fear-mongering being spread by certain people, that they couldn't get their way with one thing, so they just continue to try other things. I'm not monetized, so I guess I can pretty much say what I want to say on this video, but, you know, it's just, you get tired of seeing the pain that other people inflict in the name of someone else, and it's a bunch of baloney. They just, a bunch of people out there just want a bunch of free stuff, and they want to be able to go act a fool and have this mob mentality of, well, if he's doing it, I can do it. And then so somebody else jumps in, well, if they're doing it, I can do it. And then you've got somebody else that's paid to show up and cause controversy and cause problems, and so then they add to the bunch, and it just grows and grows from there until it becomes the mess that we are now in, with our American streets looking like war zones and people trying to erase American history. So like I said, we've just got to continue to pray for America, to seek God, to seek His mercy upon those, and to pray that things get better before they get worse. But many people believe that they're going to get worse before they get better. So I just wanted to share a little part of what we've got going on. I've still got a lot to do on the garden tilling, and then I've got landscaping fabric, or not necessarily landscaping fabric, but the woven weed fabric to put down. I'm going to do that this year, the good kind, not the Dollar Tree kind that I used last year. Not that it wasn't okay, but it was just okay. It did not prevent the weed growth. It was still allowed light in, and so grass just grew up under it and pillowed it up and everything, and it just ripped. And so this year we spent the money and are putting down the actual woven weed fabric to use and help the garden be easier to maintain throughout the season, and hopefully hold in the moisture from drying out in the sun and everything. So, but we've got that coming and some other things, and then hopefully we'll have a really good harvest. I'll be able to share with friends and maybe set up a table out here by the road and sell to some of the local people that drive by to go to a local plant nearby. And I've thought about even maybe driving through. There's a little motorhome park, I guess you could say, that's for people to rent and live in down the street, not a quarter of a mile, that I've thought about trying to take the eggs around to and see if I could get people to sell or to buy from me, sell to them. Sorry, I'm really tired. I've not slept very well last night, so I've had about 2 or 3 hours of sleep since yesterday. But everybody's happy and doing good and growing, and then I've got 12 babies inside the house that are growing and doing well. We had no losses after hatching. We had 2 that did not complete growth, and one stopped earlier in the progress, than the other one did. The other one came very close to hatching, and something just wasn't right with the baby. I tried to help it, and you could tell that there was just something not right going on, and it just didn't properly develop, and so it ended up passing away. But I only had 1 egg that wasn't fertile out of the ones that I put in there, so that was very good. I did buy 4 chicks at Tractor Supply, just 4 Golden Comets, because they're one of my favorite egg layer breeds. Big eggs, regular layers. I mean, you just can count on a Golden Comet every day, just about, for an egg. And I've got cats fussing with each other in the background. But we've got 2 feather-footed babies, which are the Brahmas. So I'm real excited to see how they turn out. And because I'm not sure, I've got to do my research again. It's been so long since I've done a hatching to see how it is, which genetic traits and physical traits the chickens take from the mother and which ones they take from the father. I have 1 little chick that looks visibly smaller than the rest, and I'm thinking that's probably one of the Cornish. And so I'm excited to see how it turns out, having the big Chanticleer daddy with the little Cornish mama. So, but so far so good. They're growing great, and we've got 8 duck eggs in the incubator now. So we'll see how they do, and hopefully, like I said, we'll get some females to increase our egg production on the ducks and be able to start selling duck eggs as well. So I guess I'll go for now. I've been talking for long enough. It's just been a while, so I wanted to catch up, and hopefully I can figure out how to get this uploaded onto YouTube from my computer, because I've not had to do this so far in a long time. And especially with this new camera, I want to learn its little tricks and things that I can do with it. I thought it was one that I could pause videoing while I was in the process of videoing without stopping and starting completely, but I don't know that I can do that yet. So we will watch and see, and I'll get my book out and read again. But Hopefully the sound is good. If it's not, I've got a microphone that I can use with it. Hopefully it will work. And then we will go from there. If this not, then this has been a silent film for you guys to watch. Okay, y'all. God bless and have a great day.